Hey everyone, how you doing? Sorry this is not coming to you live as YouTube Live crashed on me 3 times midway through the discussion. And instead of trying a fourth time and getting even more agitated, I decided to just record this and upload this video later. So first and foremost, we got to talk about the trade deal. I think it's interesting that the trade deal is sort of on again, off again, hot and cold. Just yesterday, they were saying how um, how they thought they were, I want to say opportunistic, that's not the right word. Basically, how they thought this thing was going to happen. And today they are pessimistic. I need more coffee, I think. I think that's what I need. But basically, they're coming out today and saying, we're not sure this is going to get done. I do think this is interesting because last I checked, we had some tariffs that were supposed to go into effect mid-December, right? These were delayed from earlier in the year, under the guise of, trying to do the right thing. So we will see what happens. Um, Fully expect this to go hot and cold, as we go forward. It is interesting how the stock market reacts, right, based on a headline about the trade deal, right? We're months, if not, years away from getting something done. To see that the market will go up or down based on a headline is interesting. That just happens at the top of the market where people are looking for any reason to buy or get out. So be careful. Next up is WeWork. WeWork is laying off thousands of individuals. I have 4 to 6 thousand in my notes. I do think it's interesting. You kind of saw this coming when they said they're going to streamline their business and get out of non-core things, but also 2,000 people in their leasing side, which is kind of core. So um, fully expect this to be a Harvard business case sometime in the future. In addition to that, they lost $1.25 billion in the quarter, which frankly is hard to do. And they literally almost ran out of cash. So it'll just be interesting to see, what else happens in these unicorn stocks, which WeWork clearly was at a valuation of what was it, $80 billion at one time. And now you're talking about losing $1 billion in 90 days and running out of cash. So it will be interesting. Next up, I have Ford unveiling the Mustang Mach-E. It's going to start at around $44,000 based on the notes I have. I seen a picture. It's the blue SUV looks okay. Talks about coming out in 2021 and having miles range of 210 to 300 miles depending on the battery life you select. I think it's interesting. I think the pie for all electric vehicles is growing. So by Ford entering it, it doesn't mean that there's really necessarily going to be any direct kind of you win, I lose situation. But I do think it's time for Tesla. Tesla's not going to have this 80% market share of that kind of niche going forward. I will think it's interesting to see if any analysts come out and kind of slash their expectations of Tesla, because for a long time they've been the only sexy all electric car, right? A lot of the other electric cars were not necessarily well, designed for elegance. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. It'll be also interesting to see what happens on the all electric front, right? Are we now jump the chasm where in the near future, near being a decade or two, that electric cars are now more popular than gas vehicles, right? From a units. So that will be interesting to watch. Next up, we have Fitbit users. Apparently, many of them are not very happy that Google is acquiring their health tracking, device. Reading the article, it talks about basically people don't trust Google, and I think that's interesting. Not only in this case, but I think it's a problem going forward, right? If people don't trust Google, um, that is going to hurt with their decisions down the line, right? Because they just talked about entering the checking account, right? Didn't we talk about that here recently? And then also you have them moving into healthcare and other kinds of things. So um, Google has an image problem that they need to work on somehow, and at least to date, I haven't seen them do anything. But you would think that is coming, so it'll be interesting. Saw another article talking about the robust healthcare industry. It went far as saying that the healthcare industry is in the U.S. is so robust that it's recession proof. Um, Kind of a bold claim, but again, with the aging population and retirees and things of that nature, you can see it coming, where you're going to just need more and more people to take care of them. It's also interesting, just given what we'll talk about later about China. This can be something that you could see roll over into China in a couple of decades, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that now, since I've already kind of brought it up. One of the viewers of this channel sent me an article over the weekend, which all of you are free to do. If you have an article that you think I should read on this, or read and digest and share with the audience, send it to me. He sent me an article about China and their population. It looks like by 2040, 1/5 or 21% of their population will be retirees, which is going to have an impact on their business, their growth. They're going to have to make some tough choices, because that's a big number. This is obviously a hangover of their one-child policy that they had for many years. They're now kind of paying that price, and it'll be interesting to see how they handle that in the future, because this is, you can go ahead and look to Japan, where they have the kind of same aging population. They're actually there now, and you can see that their economy is struggling. Next up, we have HP rejecting Xerox bid. I think it was a week ago, maybe 10 days ago. Xerox came out of nowhere, who is 1/3 the size of HP, and said, hey, we want to buy you, we want to merge, which was interesting. Obviously, lots of synergies and layoffs will occur of this and all of that. Probably as expected, the big company said, hey, no thank you to the smaller company. I think that is... there's more to be done here, especially if Xerox lines up the financing, because once you're public, you're always for sale. And, if Xerox can prove that they have the capital and ability to make this happen, it will be interesting, right? The board of HP obviously is worried about their own jobs, and hence the unanimous vote not to. But we'll see what happens. One thing that could happen, because again, HP is the bigger one, is you could see HP turn around and suddenly offer to buy Xerox to get rid of the annoying little company, and oh, by the way, to save their jobs. It's amazing how much of this sometimes boils down to self-interest. So it will be interesting. And just rounding out the news, we have home builder confidence. It ticked down slightly to 70 from 71. It's still very robust. Anything above 50 is a good thing. Just to put that into context, last year this time it was 60. So again, home builders are feeling good. They are, they're building and selling and moving into the new year. So again, lots of stuff going on. I do think Google has a trust issue. If people are literally throwing away their Fitbit devices, that's a problem. I think Ford entering, the all-electric SUV market with their Mach-E kind of is a sign to Tesla that they're not the only game in town. We have HP saying no thanks to Xerox. I don't think that story's over. And today's trade war news is negative, which that means tomorrow is going to be positive, at least if the trend continues from the last 4 or 5 days. All right, everyone. I'm sorry this wasn't live. I tried 3 times. Let me stop this and upload the video. All right. Take care. Bye.